We welcome you into 2024 here on the Sports Cubicle. It's Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado, and while we are enjoying the start of a brand new year, we hope each and every one of you had a wonderful and safe New Year's Eve and New Year Day and a start to a brand new year. But it's interesting, while things are all changing and people are getting ready to keep going with their New Year's resolutions, trying to make good by those New Year's resolutions, the Chicago Bears seem to always be doing the same exact thing, and that is being the head of Chicago sports news. And oh boy, could they not help themselves, whether it was solidifying that they were going to be the number one pick for the second straight year in the NFL draft. Justin Fields playing a heck of a game against the Atlanta Falcons, honestly having a great last few weeks, kind of making things tough on whether or not they should draft the quarterback at number one. And a huge report that came out from Ian Rapoport about the Bears' current head coach. And we want to get into that right now. The Chicago Bears are expected to retain head coach Matt Eberflus for the 2024 season. NFL Network's Ian Rapoport reported the news on Saturday's edition of Game Day Kickoff prior to the Detroit Lions game at the Dallas Cowboys. Ian Rapoport is reporting this. This is months later when we've seen like Albert Breer or Diana Rossini say the contrary, that he was going to get fired in the beginning of the season. Devin, I'm going to go on a soapbox here for a second. You bring in Kevin Warren, this guy from the Vikings that helped them build this new stadium and have some foundation as an entire organization. We saw him lead the Big Ten during the COVID pandemic. So you bring him here to Chicago. You get rid of Ted Phillips. The McCaskies aren't really involved like they used to be. And then you're going to bring back the same head coach that didn't have his team prepared for the opening game against the Green Bay Packers. The guy that has given up multiple games as the defensive guru, 30-plus points this very season. It wasn't until they got a pass rusher, a real difference maker in Montez Sweat, that changed the entire dynamics of that defense. And it also helps when your cornerbacks are not just deflecting balls, but catching them and going down and scoring touchdowns for your team. There was a lot of extenuating circumstances that have brought the Bears to the record they're at, the kind of football they've been playing. And you're now in a position where guaranteed you will be the number one pick in the NFL draft. And you're going to keep the same head coach that you've been demanding you get rid of for the last 17 weeks as a fan base? The guy that brought in Luke Getsy as his offensive coordinator? I am dumbfounded that this organization is going to do the dumbest thing possible. Do I think Matt Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator? Yes. Do I think his players play for him? Yes. Do I trust him? If you are going to move forward and draft a quarterback at number one to develop him, absolutely not, because I don't trust him to make the right hire at offensive coordinator. And while we're at the number one pick, now we're at the moment. I, all season, unabashedly have been a Justin Fields guy. QB1 is my guy. That's my quarterback. But I am under the realization that general managers in the NFL do not get the second opportunity in back-to-back years for the number one draft pick and not pick a quarterback, especially when the quarterback on their team right now is not the guy they drafted. It doesn't happen. Also, it doesn't happen if you want job security. Is Ryan Poles guaranteed to keep his job? No. You know how you do guarantee to do it? By drafting a quarterback and resetting the clock. But people, Mike, trade down. We love Justin Fields. Go get Marvin Harrison. Okay, go ahead and do that. And then you win 6 games. And if you're Ryan Poles, you get fired the next season because Kevin Warren wants to bring in one of his guys. All you've done now, instead of getting your franchise quarterback, you've given the next guy 3 draft picks that he can find his great quarterback, and he can have job security, and he can wake up the sleeping giants of the Chicago Bears. That is what this report reads to me, is that there's no stability, that there is no real idea of what this team is going to do. And you could say, oh, good, is secrecy. They're not letting things leak. But do you trust the team that had to fire 2 coaches from this staff this very season?
Well, to be fair, one of them resigned after the FBI raided his house.
Allegedly, you're right.
We can't get Jalen Carter because we have a good culture here at the Bears. And I mean, honestly, I do think this might be Kevin Warren's way of kind of being like sticking it to Harbaugh, because the rumor is, Harbaugh's coming to Chicago. But, as you learned from the Big Ten back then, 2 of them didn't get along so very well. And we all know it's his business, yes, but people are still petty as all heck. that they're going to, be having those PP measuring contests. I can say that on the radio. I sure hope.
Yeah. And Dev, you were bringing up the idea of Jim Harbaugh and not getting along with Kevin Warren. I think it's the same thing with Bill Belichick and any of these other coaches, and I think it's something that's another branch and a circumstance we've been talking about. You can't bring in an established coach when you have Ryan Poles, when you have this general manager, because Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, Jim Harbaugh wants total control of the roster he builds.
But also the thing with a guy like a Bill Belichick, how old is he? The guy's almost 70. He's not going to come to a team that isn't going to win within the next 2 years.
If we were talking about 60-year-old Bill Belichick, you and I would be all in. But we're not talking about that type of Bill Belichick.
I mean, earlier in the season, keeping Eberflus made absolutely no sense. I can see the somewhat justification now that they've had a few wins, but look at the games they've lost these past 2 weeks. It's been on dumb bleeping luck.
The Detroit Lions is an example of that.
Cleveland
Cleveland Browns, 100%. And here's the thing. You're looking at circumstances are what matters. The entire picture is what matters. If the Bears didn't have the number one pick, if they didn't have Carolina's pick, and if Justin Fields wasn't on this part of his contract, where you're going to eventually have to give him $15 to $20 million, maybe then it would be a little bit easier to justify not only keeping Justin Fields, which I think you can make an argument for, but also a real argument to keep Matt Eberflus, because they have steadied the ship. They have been able to step up their game and do things pretty damn well, even with a lot of the flubs that they had in the beginning or in the middle of the season. But that's not what's happening right now.
No, they're a 500 team at best right now. You can't even have a 500 record.
With the number one pick in a draft that has 5 quarterbacks. That is my thing, even as a diehard Justin Fields fan. I can separate the two. What Bears fans have to come to realization or come to Jesus moments, for lack of a term, for Bears fans. You have to be okay with the fact that Justin Fields is most likely or can end up with another team, heck, even in your own division, and he can flourish. He has shown us in this season he's a top 20 quarterback in the NFL, which means he's going to start next season. Will it be for the Bears? I don't know. I would like it to be. Circumstances tell you that's not the case. But scared money doesn't make money. A general manager is not going to give up that chance. When Mitch Trubisky left this team, we didn't care which team he went to. We didn't care what city he went to. But if we wake up and Justin Fields is a Minnesota Viking, if Justin Fields is a Green Bay Packer, if Justin Fields is a Detroit Lion,
Las Vegas Raiders for Paul.
And it will feel like a nightmare for us. More than likely, it'll be Atlanta or Pittsburgh. But we all know, we can all see the day where Justin Fields is leading a team in a playoff run. It could totally work out the other way because it's the NFL. But that is the true, honest opinion of Bears fans, that we have to be able to come to some sort of face-to-face moment. We're afraid Justin Fields is going to be great somewhere else.
But the thing is, I definitely feel if Fields leaves, it's like, I was at the game a few weeks ago. You go into that merch store, it is Fields. They have Fields Squishmallows. I didn't even know it was a bleeping thing. And you see how much the team loves him and the players love him and the guys like working with him and all that stuff. I feel if you get rid of Fields, you can have Caleb Williams, who doesn't want to play for Chicago, by the way. Do you want another Deshaun Watson on your hands? A guy who's got a big, fat, bleeping contract but sits on his ass for 4 years till you trade him somewhere else? It'd be a terrible decision. There's other quarterbacks, obviously. But I have a feeling you can get that Caleb Williams, but you get rid of Justin Fields. You got rid of, you got rid of the C. You got rid of their guy. And the rest of the guys in the team might be like, you know what? Our morale is down, and we don't want to work for this organization here.
I think it's a great point. I think there's so many different realities and branches that this could go down. I am more than okay with Justin Fields being the starting quarterback for the Bears next season. I think Matt Eberflus is a great defensive coordinator, and I think he's a good dude. More than anything, he seems like a good dude. I don't want him to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I do see a reality where that might be the case. I am afraid that we will live in a reality where not only Matt Eberflus is the head coach of the Chicago Bears, not only is Luke Getsy the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, but that they draft Caleb Williams. I'm okay with drafting Caleb Williams, but then you got to clean house, and that includes Matt Eberflus, that includes Luke Getsy, and that probably includes Justin Fields.
You don't want Williams to be a screen pass master?
No, I'm okay with that. How about vertically? How about when Justin Fields throws the ball on a dime to DJ Moore? More of that. That would have been nice earlier on in this season. And that's the thing, you got to be okay with losing if you go with QB number one this year's draft is. He could be doing that somewhere else, but we want to know your thoughts. This is just the beginning of this conversation. The season is coming to an end, and on Black Monday, we'll find out. This opinion, all these points will be moot by the time we get to January 8th, because the Bears will they be amongst the half dozen teams or more that fire their head coach? We'll find out. Let us know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. We're on YouTube at The Sports Cubicle. Search us everywhere else at Sports from the Couch. And, of course, WCPT, SoundCloud, and Spotify at WCPT 820. He's Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado. We got more coming up next here on The Sports Cubicle.